In this beginner Godot Game Engine tutorial, I'll show you how to implement basic character movement. By the end of this lesson, you will learn how to move the character with WASD or the arrow keys. We will also implement basic camera movement that will follow the character. If you like this video, please consider subscribing, ringing that notification bell, and hitting the like button. Thanks. Let's jump right in. First, let's open up a new Godot project. Select 2D scene. Rename the node 2D to world. Next, save the scene. Here you can see I've already imported my game assets. To import your own game assets, all you have to do is drag your files into the file system. I'm going to add a quick tile map just so we have some sort of background. This is not part of the lesson, so I'm going to go very quickly through this. In the property panel, I'll click tileset empty, new tileset, then I'll click tileset again. I'll drag the image that I want to use for the tiles into the tileset editor. Now I'll zoom out and select new single tile and select the area of the image that I want to use for the tile. Now I will click the tile map node and I'll resize the tiles to the size that I want. I will draw out a basic background. Now let's add the nodes for our character. Click the plus button above the world node and search kinematic body 2D. Rename the node to player. Next, we need to add a collision shape for the player. With the player selected, add a node and search for collision shape 2D. In the properties panel, click shape and add a new capsule shape. You can resize the capsule shape however you like. Next, we need to add a sprite for our character. With the player node selected, click add new node and search for sprite. Drag your sprite texture into the texture slot. If you're using a sprite sheet like I am, click animation and adjust V frames and H frames. My sprite sheet is very small and only has 2 H frames. Let's move the sprite node behind the collision shape 2D node so we could better see the collision shape 2D. Adjust the collision shape to fit your character. Next, we'll need to add the movement script to our player node. With the player node selected, click the icon for add new script. Click create. Now we could delete the boilerplate code. We will need to add an acceleration constant, a max speed constant, and a friction constant. Next, we'll create a velocity vector and set it to 0. In the physics process function, we'll add an input vector variable. We'll set it to 0 as well. Next, we'll set the input vector's x and y directions to the keyboard input. Now, we'll normalize the input vector. If the input vector is not 0, aka if you're pressing the arrow keys or WASD, then we'll set the velocity accordingly. We will clamp the velocity to max speed. Else, if you're not pressing any of the input keys on the keyboard, we'll have the velocity vector move towards 0. Lastly, we'll call move and slide velocity. Now we need to map the WASD keys to our input. Go to Project, Project Settings, and click Input Map. Add the WASD keys to UI left, UI right, UI up, and UI down. Now click Run, and select the world scene, and now you can move with WASD or the arrow keys. Next, let's add a camera that will follow our character. With the player node selected, add a camera 2D node. Be sure to check current, and drag margin H and drag margin V. My character is very large, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm also going to adjust the speed of my character. Now if you run the project, you should have a character that you can move around the screen with your keyboard and a camera will follow it. If you liked this video, please hit subscribe, the notification bell, and the like button. I also have the code in the description if you want to copy and paste it. And don't forget to check out my devlogs for my new game Exploratory. Thanks for watching and take care.